Alrighty, we are pleased to be joined by a guy that is from Swift Current, Saskatchewan, aka Speedy Creek. He was drafted in the 5th round to the Calgary Flames, has won Stanley Cup. Is that any good? So with all of that, we are pleased to have on Travis Moen. Travis, thanks for jumping on the podcast, man.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, so first off, Travis, we have to, as we always do on this podcast, we want to backtrack a little bit here. What's up with you? What's going on? How are things? Where are you at these days?
Still living in Swift Current. Obviously, when I retired, I had a house in Swift Current, so we moved back here, put the kids back in school, and obviously I'm from Stewart Valley, about 15 minutes north of Swift Current. Obviously, I grew up on a farm, so still help out on the farm, seeding and harvest. So I know it's been feels like it was just yesterday, but it's been a long time since I retired.
Well, we were going through your stats and we saw some interesting things. Obviously, you played in the NHL, which is incredible in itself, and you're not too far removed from the game. But before we get into all that, you mentioned Stewart Valley Sask. Let's walk through a young Travis Moen. We always do this on this pod. We talk about the young days. What were you doing growing up in the farm in Stewart Valley?
Well, just kind of what a typical farm kid would do, just roaming the flatlands and shooting gophers to picking rocks on the farm, hauling square bales, just being kids. And, I look back at those times and, I miss those days. Part of me wish my kids grew up on the farm just because you have so much freedom and you can do so much stuff on your own. And lots of good memories. Obviously, I started playing hockey in Stewart Valley at the age of 6. I actually grew up in Swift Current until the age of 7. Played on both Swift Current and Stewart Valley's hockey teams. I just played hockey in the Valley till I was probably 9, and then we didn't have enough kids to make a team. So then we started traveling into Swift, play minor hockey in there. So,
wow, 2 teams grinding. I like it.
Yeah, grinding.
I would be screwed on a farm. I'd be like, "Where's a wrench?" And they'd be like, "For what?"
Which one?
Yeah, I would be so screwed. Okay, so let's talk about, you played 1 year in Swift Current for the Legionnaires. You had a good season in AAA, and then went straight to the WHL to play for Kelowna. First, how was it playing in Swift, and then obviously the jump to beautiful Kelowna?
Yeah, it's Swift is awesome. It's a great hockey city to grow up in. We were fortunate enough. We had good teams all the way through. Our Pee Wee team, we won provincials. Our Bantam second-year team, we won Western Canadians. My first year midget, I didn't make the Kelowna as a 16-year-old. I played as a 17-year-old. We lost out in the final to go to the Air Canada Cup. So, it helps when you're on good teams all along the way to get noticed. And, I kind of went through a phase when I was like 5 till 12. I was really good, and then kind of hit a little low in my career, and then kind of built it back up. So I was fortunate enough to get listed by the Kelowna Rockets back when I was playing, would have been Bantam, I guess, the year we won the Western Canadians. And then, I made Kelowna as a 17-year-old, got drafted that year by Calgary. And then, the rest is kind of history. So
that's incredible. Do you have anything?
I'm going to go back to your family. How old are your kids?
12 and 9. 12. Boys 12, my daughter's 9.
So they got to watch you when you're playing later in your career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do they remember anything from it, or?
Yeah, my boy does. My daughter remembers just kind of little bits and pieces, but my son, he started playing hockey in Montreal when he was 5. And then I got traded to Dallas, and then we moved to Dallas, and the family came down, and he got to play hockey in Dallas, which is kind of pretty cool. You're wearing sandals and shorts to the rink in November and in February. So, that was such a cool part of my career too. It sucked I didn't play a whole bunch of my last year, but just to be able to spend more family time with your family down there and be able to do that kind of more stuff, it was awesome. I enjoyed that experience in my career.
So Travis, I want to talk about, your time in Kelowna, and obviously, we've jumped around here and there, but this is the kind of question we always ask, guys that have went from AAA to the Western League and then, pro. How much did you develop in your, from your first year in the league to like kind of the last year? Obviously you have to you did enough to get, drafted, and then obviously made the pro level. Let's walk through, from year 1 to year 4.
Yeah, good question. My first year was, just trying to stay afloat. You're kind of a rookie and you're just trying to find your game. And I was fortunate enough to have a coach that really liked me, Mark Capscheid. He's coaches in PA now, but he coached coach in the NHL a little bit too. So he was a Saskatchewan guy, so obviously we connected well, and he liked me. So it was my first year was just trying to make an impression, which I did. I got drafted by the Flames, and then unfortunately my second year I got a really bad concussion. I got jumped by Derek Parker in the dub, and I think my nose was on the back of my skull, so I missed like 2.5 months. And then came back and didn't have a great year, but then came back as a 19-year-old and kind of had a better year. And, I kind of was getting better and better and better. And then unfortunately it was, the Flames at that time, Craig Button kind of lost his signing power back then. Like me, Jared Stoll, Curtis Foster, all those guys went back into the draft, never got signed. So I didn't get drafted. Stolzy did, Fozzie did, Curtis Foster. But I had an invite to Norfolk, Chicago's farm team. So I was planning on going there for camp, and then Lorne Fry and Mark Capscheid kind of said, well, why don't we give him a shot in Chicago? So they got me a tryout with Chicago, and I went in there and I was in great shape. And, another guy, Brian Sutter, who I love, a good prairie guy. I had a really good camp, and they liked it. And then I signed a contract with Chicago. So that's kind of how I got there.
Wow. Okay, well, that leads me to my next question here. I guess, what age did you go, hey, I like to do this for a full-time job?
I think it was, when I got drafted, I kind of knew that I had a good chance of being able to do this as a career. And then I kind of had that setback with concussions, and I was unsure of everything. And then, I kind of probably knew like 5 days into Chicago's camp that, I can keep up with these guys. And then once I signed, then I knew I had a chance. So, it was, like I say, early on, thought I had a chance. And then with the whole injury stuff, you're kind of unsure, especially at that age. You're so young. You don't really know what the real world's like. So, then once I signed, then it was, full throttle, training lots and trying to make sure I can make this a career.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Rip.
I'm going to go back to when you got drafted. Were you at the draft, or how was that day? Take us through that day.
It was, my agent at the time said, well, you're predicted to go 4th round, which you could go 3rd round, you could go 2nd round, but you might not get drafted. So his advice for me was to just stay home. Because he said he's seen it too many times where guys think they're going to get drafted in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, and then they go to the draft, and then it's a huge letdown for them, right? When they don't get drafted. So I remember I was at the farm. My old coach that coached me in Tom Thumb novice, he was over having coffee with my dad that morning. And he was sitting there, and we were all sitting there, and we got a phone call. My dad went up and answered the phone. It was Lanny McDonald. Oh, so my dad called me to the phone. No. Yeah. So my dad called me to the phone. He's like, Mr. Lanny McDonald would like to talk to you. And I'm just like, oh my God, what's going on, right? So I got on the phone with Lanny, and he just said, congrats, the Flames drafted me 5th round, and they were looking forward to seeing me at camp. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
So Travis, the draft happens, you get drafted in the 2000 draft, and you know how hard that is to say. You're drafted in the 2000s, like you're waiting to say 2001 or 2000. They just said weird, right? Yeah. But first, what did it mean to you, and then obviously your family? That's a special day for any kid that's growing up wanting to play in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, it is. It's huge. For me, it was unbelievable because that's my dream. That was what I dreamed since I was 5 years old. But I don't really know, but I imagine for my family, it must have been pretty cool experience for them. You think of the time and dedication you put into, and my parents, they worked 2 jobs off the farm to be able to probably pay for me and my brother to play hockey. So for them to kind of see that reward at the end was, I remember my dad, tears in his eyes, and my mom was crying, and it's something you'll never forget, and something I'll remember for the rest of my life for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super cool. Okay, yeah. Travis, you spent some time in the league, Chicago, Anaheim, San Jose, Montreal, and then finished in Dallas, not too long ago. You mentioned it feels like just like yesterday. My first question is, what's the best city that you like to play in there when you were there?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Chicago as a rookie, what a city. I mean, that was kind of the time where they were still, we didn't get much fan support back then, but it was just an awesome city to be a 21-year-old in, and just to be able to experience the food and the culture in that city and playing your first year in the NHL. And I mean, it's such a big difference from playing in Kelowna to going to the NHL and flying on planes and, staying at the Ritz-Carlton and going out for, steak dinners on the road with the guys. And so Chicago was awesome. I kind of call it my 3-phase thing and then I went to Anaheim. And I mean, you're playing in California. That's unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
You wear sandals and flip flops to the rink, and you go to practice, and you go to the beach and have lunch, and you're walking around, Newport Beach, and I mean, such a cool experience too. And then I go to Montreal and be able to play for Original Six. Well, win a cup in Anaheim first, and then go to Montreal, and then be able to play for an Original Six. And the Molson family is amazing there, and just be able to experience that. I mean, you're playing soccer before the game, and Mr. Jean Beliveau comes over and shakes your hand and says, "Good luck tonight." And you're kind of like, "Oh my God, how cool is that?" Right? Like,
Lanny was cool,
and,
but
So, I mean, So, and then be able to finish my career off in Dallas, and just, just a cool organization with a lot of good friends and a lot of good guys I played with, and be able to have my family down there, and, my kids in sports down there. It's, it was awesome. So to be able to pick one, I'd probably have to pick Anaheim winning the cup there.
Yeah.
But all the other stops were amazing.
Well, that leads right into the next question. The 07 Stanley Cup, you scored the clinching goal. We were just watching film. We were watching film. We were calling you a honey badger in the intro. Big role on the team. Walk us through that run. And you played 82 games that year, I believe, correct?
Yeah. Well, that was kind of if you look back on, I had a coach, Randy Carlisle, that liked me and gave me kind of a role that fit me very well. I mean, don't get me wrong, playing with Sammy Paulson and Rob Niedermeyer, two veterans, two guys that are, that really helped me too. But I was able to play all 82. I actually broke my thumb like 2 weeks before the playoffs started. And they actually thought I was going to be shut down for the whole playoff run, but some miraculous thing, the bone never pulled off the tendon, and I was able to just cast it up and wear it the whole playoffs. So, we had an amazing run. I mean, be able to beat Minnesota first round in 5, and then we beat Vancouver in 5, and then we played. Detroit was a series.
Yeah.
That was a grind. We were lucky to get out of that one.
Is that 7 or 6?
I was in 6. But we were down 1-0, and then down 2-1, and then came back and then beat them in 6. So, and then to play, Ottawa in the finals, a Canadian team, Canadian boy, always cheering for a Canadian team to win, but I wasn't cheering for them that year. That's for sure. So it was a magical run, something you'll never forget. Think of all the friendships you still have, all the memories. Wouldn't change it for the world. And then to be able to win it back in Anaheim.
Yeah.
I'd like to say my goal to win was a highlight reel goal, but I dumped it in the corner, and I always say I put a little extra spin on it, but because Phillips put it in for me. But it was such a cool game to play, and just especially, don't get me wrong, scoring an overtime winner would be really cool, but to be able to know with 2 minutes left in the game that you're gonna hold that Stanley Cup above your head is pretty cool.
Okay, I have one quick one, Rip, and then you can jump in.
Okay.
And we've had a lot of guys that have won the NHL, won the Cup. Sorry. I don't know. Walk us through a speech that you would have heard in one of those games from one of your coaches. Especially the 07 Cup. Like, what's a coach saying before that game?
You know what? And I'm sure the coaches probably had a lot of speeches, but the one speech I remember the most was from J.S. Giguère. We were playing Ottawa in the finals, and it was game 4, and we were losing. And it was game 4. We were down, and he just came in, and I can't remember, it was after the first or second period, and he just started screaming at us. And it wasn't like an asshole scream. It was like a passionate scream, like, "Boys, do you understand the chance we have?" And he'd been there before, right? I can't remember what year was it, 03, 04, when they had that run and they lost to New Jersey, right? So he kind of reiterated, like, you only have so many opportunities to win a Stanley Cup, guys. Let's not dog it out here. Let's make sure we're giving it 100%. And I just remember him standing up in the middle of the room and just saying that, and everybody, if you ever knew Jiggy, he's got the utmost respect from every player that he's ever played for, because everybody loves him and he's such a passionate guy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that speech that he gave, and we came out that next period and we're on fire. So that's kind of the one story I remember of during that playoff run, where really, it kind of made you warm and fuzzy when he was saying that, because we all kind of rallied behind him. So
that's awesome.
So rare for a goalie to do that too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
for sure.
The goalie yelled at
yeah. Jiggy snapped lots, so we were used to it.
Okay. That makes sense then.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask, like, playoffs are so, like, the emotional highs and lows, and I was gonna ask, like, what do you got a story for us that kind of turned you guys around, or if you guys felt down? But yeah, there's one there too. I'll ask you about Ryan here, Getsy.
Yeah.
This guy, Regina boy. This guy is like the most natural athlete. Like he's good at everything. So last summer he came to my trainer at the gym and he was working out the same time as us. And this guy complained the whole time.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's Getsy.
And complained the whole time. He's yelling at guys. Like I heard stories where the first time he touched the ice was.
He'd leave his gear
his gear and stuff like that. But
100%.
Funny story here. I'm like, how often do you usually work out? And it's kind of like, never. It's my first time. Kind of like Happy Gilmore kind of moment there. Yeah. So you got any stories about Ryan and his complaining, or?
Oh yeah, lots of stories about Getsy, that's for sure. Because I remember, I used to train in Swift Current all summer and then skate the first 2 weeks in August probably, and then I would head out to Kelowna because my wife and they lived out there in Kelowna. So I used to skate out there the last 3 weeks to a month before training camp to get ready, because there's so many guys out there skating. It's just really good for you. And I remember Getsy being out there. He had a house on the water out there, and I'd be like, Getsy, let's go for a skate. And he's like, no, I'm not ready yet. And literally, I remember we flew to Anaheim 3 days before camp. I think it was 2 days before camp. That was his first time on the ice.
Jesus.
And but then not only is he's still the best player at camp.
Yeah, he's good at everything.
Yeah. I'm like, if that was me, I'd be puking over the side of the boards for one. And then they'd probably send me home because I'm not a natural. Like, I need a month of skating before I even look good on the ice. Right. So he was amazing. And then, it was kind of funny and then my last year there, maybe in Anaheim, he'd come to the gym with me in Kelowna a little bit with us guys out there, and he'd train a little bit, but he didn't like it. You could tell. It was like, I'd sooner be on the water wakeboarding or something like that. So yeah, Getsy, just a natural athlete. Like, even when he did train those couple times, he probably takes after his brother. We're just a natural sprinter, quick, powerful. It was it's kind of one of those things where you look at him and you're like, screw you, bud. Like, it's not fair. Like, how can you be that natural at a sport? And then I just got to fight for every inch.
Yeah. Okay. I have a question here. And you have this 6'4", maybe 6'5" mutant on the back end, Chris Pronger. This guy's a leader.
Yeah.
And you were a hard-nosed guy. In practice, how often were you like, okay, man, don't shoot the puck high from the point? Like, that guy had a cannon.
Yeah, how we're battle.
Like, that guy must have been a freaking battle drills and stuff. Walk us through.
Yeah, he was
strong.
He was scary, actually, just because his sheer size and strength. And one thing about Prongs, though, I don't think I ever seen him take a slap shot over a guy's shoulder. Like, he was very accurate with the shot, and he liked shooting low, so you didn't really have to worry too much about that. But I remember Prongs, won a cup with him, played 4 years with him. He gets traded to Philadelphia. I'm in Montreal, and we're lined up on a face-off, and he tried to take my head off with an elbow. And I kind of, I ducked. I got up, and I looked at him like, what are you doing, Prongs? And he didn't even look at me. He's just like, well, I'm just playing hard. Like, what are you like?
Playing hard.
You know what I mean?
Game on, hey.
Game on, right? That's just how he was. He was just an intense guy that there was no friends on the ice, and that's probably why he was so successful, right?
Did you play with Scott? You played with Scott Niedermayer too, then, hey?
Yep. Scotty,
What was that like?
It's one of those other stories where you watch him skate. You're like, I remember doing Randy Carlisle loved his bag skates after practice, and And I remember we'd be getting bag skate and come off the ice and everybody is just sweating and drenched. And you look at Needs, who led the whole pack, the whole bag skate, and he has like a little circle on his chest of sweat. You're like, how does that make sense? Like, I'm drenched. I lost 15 pounds in practice, and you barely even had a drop of sweat on your body. Like, yeah, he was like I've had many leaders in my career, but Scotty was just the quiet guy that you just followed by his example. He didn't say much, but when he did, you listened because he had that experience and respect about him. But he just an absolute, probably one of the best natural hockey skaters I've ever played with. Just an amazing hockey player.
Travis, I want to look at some of your PIMs, and obviously you had a lot in some of those seasons. I mean, did you fight a lot? And who was one of the guys that you fought were like, whoa, like I wish I didn't fight that guy? I mean,
yeah, my first couple years,
tough, but
yeah, no, not that tough though. Not some of the, there were some guys that were scary. I mean, Derek Boogard. I mean, that guy was scary tough. Like I fought my first year in Chicago, I think 16, 18 times kind of. And then my next couple of years in Anaheim, you're trying to, kind of break into the league, build a reputation. And then, my last 7, 8 years, I didn't fight a whole bunch, 4 or 5 times a year. But the toughest guy, probably Chris Simon. I fought in the playoff when we were playing Anaheim against Calgary in the playoffs. And I ran Phil Housley or somebody like that. I can't remember who it was. And I remember getting slashed coming back up the ice and turn around and all I seen was lefts coming to my face. And just so strong. He would probably be, I would think, probably the toughest guy I ever fought for sure. But yeah, I had a lot of, never fought Boogard, but I fought, who else? Chris Neal was tough. I mean, who else? Yeah, lots of guys that were Zdeněk Konopka. No real. Simon would have been the heavyweight that I fought, but yeah, I kind of left those for the guys like Garros on my team, or Brad May, or Sean Thornton, and kind of picked up the light heavyweight guys. So.
We actually had Brad May on a while back. I mean, what was that guy like playing with? I mean, he seems like such a beauty. Like when we talked to him, and he was talking about when because he won 07 with you on that team, correct?
Yep.
I mean, yeah.
Yep.
What was it like playing with Motown?
He was awesome. Like, what a great teammate. You couldn't find a nicer guy. Like, it's kind of hard to believe that when you see how, not that he was mean on the ice, but how a guy could be that intense and tough on the ice and then be the nicest guy off the ice.
Yeah.
I love Mayday. Just a great human being, and pound for pound, I'd put him up there with one of the toughest guys that ever played. I mean, just for his size and to be able to fight the guys that he did, it's pretty impressive. Yeah, I got a few Mayday stories, that's for sure.
Rip, you want to talk more hockey or golf?
I'm going to ask one more about fighting here. So you mentioned Boogie. Were you playing when him and Fedoruk fought and he shattered Todd's face?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
You got a story about that?
That was crippling. I mean, Todd had to fight him. I mean, because he had to. He was our tough guy. But and kind of, I don't know what he was. I think he was trying to maybe win the fight, which against Boogard, you don't try and win the fight. You just try and hold on for dear life.
Try not to lose.
And don't get me wrong, Fedoruk is a very, very tough guy, and all the respect in the world for him. But Boogeyman was in a whole nother level. And I remember hearing the punch to the face that just shattered his orbital bone, and it was just just crushing. Well, I think within a 16-month span, I think he knocked out 3 of our guys in Anaheim.
Oh,
yeah. So I think there was. I remember Brian Burke saying one time before one of the games, he says, nobody fights Boogard anymore.
We're done with that.
Because you're not going to win, right? So
are you in or in the way?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
it'd be terrible. That's the toughest job in the world right there.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ask Boogard to fight.
Yeah. Well, and then the funny thing was Mayday. So that would have been Minnesota when we won the Cup in 07.
Yeah.
He sucker punched one of their players, dropped him. Guy was out for a while. And Mayday stepped up the next year and fought him first game against Minnesota.
Yeah.
And yeah, he hung in there well. I mean,
were you on you'd have been playing then too when Minnesota was going nuts and Boogaard just hopped on the ice and did a little lap and that place went bananas.
Oh yeah.
That'd have been
Yeah. Talk about that. That was
that'd have been so cool.
That was cool. It almost like gave you chills when that happened, right? It was just such a cool moment.
Like I'm here now.
Yeah. What's that? Sorry.
I say he gave you guys the Jordan shrug, like I'm out here now.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. Be on your best behavior.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
All right, Travis. I mean, so we were supposed to do this, a couple of weeks ago in Swift, but we got you right now. Let's talk about some golf. You mentioned off the record, you golf, quite a bit, we'll say. Let's talk about your golf game. Like, where's it at?
Well, it's hit or miss. I mean, it's just inconsistent. I'll call it that. Some days the driver's on, some days it's not on. I would say my best part of my game is probably like that 170 yards and into the green. Putting can be hit or miss, but I'm okay putting. But definitely my wedges and anything 160, 170 in is probably my strength. Anything above 160, 170, like driver 3-wood, no. It's shank one right, slice one left. So it's I can shoot anywhere, from the blues at Elmwood from I can shoot an 84 some days, but then I can shoot a 77. So
that's good.
Right.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
I mean, when you have good hands from 165 in, I mean, it probably came from scoring that big goal in 07. I mean, you just have good mitts forever now. That's
exactly. So it's all about spin.
Are you a member at Elmwood?
Yeah. Member. I've been there.
Let you play
since I retired. I never had enough time, probably when I was farming and stuff like that, to be able, because I used to come back and help out 6-7 days a week on the farm and then try and fit training in for that. So I didn't have a whole bunch of time to golf. So, but when I retired, then I got a membership and I started trying to get out there as much as I can.
Okay. So now I want to, because you obviously played in Anaheim and then you played in Dallas. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we talked to some guys like, Jimmy Hayes and these guys, they say when they play, they're playing golf right after they have practice. I mean, how much were you golfing down south when you were there? Like, there were some of the places you've played.
I golfed a little bit in Anaheim. I was always too sore. I mean, either my shoulder or my hand or something was always ailing that I could never really want to golf. And like I said, I wasn't really into golf back then.
Yeah.
Because I was so busy on the farm and stuff. So I wished I would have golfed more. Strawberry Farms in California, we used to always have a golf team out there, so I golfed there quite a bit. Tustin Ranch down there in Anaheim was a cool little course. And then we actually, probably my favorite time golfing after we won the Cup in 07, we went and played London. Well, in London against LA Kings for 2 of our first regular season games in 08. And we went and golfed, which they just had the Open there, the Royal St. George's. So we went out there as a team and golfed the Royal St. George's. So that was a cool experience to be able to. I remember my caddy down there. I bogeyed the first hole, and he said, "You're fine. Tiger bogeyed this or double bogeyed this back in 02 or something like that."
And then he shot a 65.
Yeah, exactly.
All that confidence and then, well,
for sure.
That's cool though. Rip, you have golf questions? You want to go a question from the gallery?
We can do questions from the gallery later.
Or right now? Okay, let's go to a question from the gallery, sponsored by Molson Coors. Coors Seltzer's on a mission helping restore fresh water to Canada's river through the Change the Coors Foundation. Enjoy the Coors Seltzer mixer pack with 4 great flavors. Myself and the stat guy Rip here love them all. Black cherry mango, grapefruit, and lemon lime. Do it today. Please try to drink for all time. All right, Travis.
You better be a Molson guy, by the way.
Yeah, you better be Molson.
Yeah, I am. I played Montreal. I got to support Mr. Molson. So,
okay. First question: the best rookie party story
that can be told.
That can be told. That's a tough one. That's should have emailed me some of these questions so I could thought about them a little bit. Best rookie party story would have been. Trying to remember all the rookie parties I had. Best story, yep, I got one. Okay, we're in Dallas, and Jackman I played with him in Anaheim, won a cup with him.
Damn.
So we're in Dallas, and Randy Carl made us have a practice after a rookie party.
Oh,
So I remember being on the bus, and Jacko didn't show up on the bus. We get to the rink, and we're all just like, oh my God, this is terrible. So Jacko comes in like 10 minutes late and grabs the garbage can. We're like, what? Why do you grab the garbage can? He takes the garbage out of the garbage can. He takes the garbage can into the shower. He fills the garbage can full of hot water, and he sits in there for 30 minutes before practice. We're like, what is he doing? Like, and he had drank a lot that night, I think. And I remember him being on the ice, and he could barely skate. And so we kept taking Jacko from the front of the line, and we just kept putting him to the back of the line so that they wouldn't take part in practice, because he couldn't make a pass, he couldn't skate, he couldn't catch a pass, he couldn't shoot. So yeah, Jacko was he had a good night that night. So we that's what a team does, right? Protect your teammates. So
is there any story, like any knowledge what he had behind the garbage can and the hot water?
yeah. What was that about? What's he doing?
I think he was just looking for a hot tub. Back in 07, I mean, teams have gotten a little better for guys on the road having like the steel cold tubs and stuff, and you fill it with hot. I think we were at a rink where it was just, it wasn't Dallas's regular rink. So it was just a random rink we had to practice at that next day. So I think he was just literally looking for a hot tub, and he thought the garbage can was his best bet.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So rookie party, where'd you have all your, like, did you ever have any oh my God, did you have any rookie parties on the road ever?
All of them were usually on the road.
All...
Yeah. I think we only had one rookie party. I think it was in Montreal, just because it didn't work out with the timing, and you kind of got to go okay with the GM before to make sure we have enough time in between games so you're not hungover for a game, right? So, but I mean, when I was in Chicago, we had my rookie party was in Calgary. When we were in Anaheim, we had a rookie party in Dallas twice, I think. LA, can't remember the other place. Montreal was Tampa, Chicago, New York, Florida. I can't remember the other one. And then, yeah, they were all really good cities.
Yeah, no kidding.
And I think Dallas, we had one in Montreal. So yeah, I always tried to do it on the road, just because, that way you're kind of, you're on the road with the guys and you're staying in the hotel, and it's kind of that more team bonding aspect, right? So.
All right, next question here, Travis. The highest bill that you've seen at a table with your teammates, and if you can remember, what was the cup bill that you guys went out that night?
Ooh, so the highest bill at a table.
And who paid for it?
And I paid for it?
No. Who paid for it? Sorry.
Okay.
Travis, I wasn't paying for it.
Trying to think here. Well, Scott Niedermeyer, I think it was, he took the team out for dinner once. I think it was $12,000.
Oh my
God. Team meal. Yeah, he kind of put it on the board, team meal for the guys if we won the game, and I think we won it. And it was up there. I mean, Scott's, I think everybody was trying to jack up the meal. And then probably the most expensive rookie party us was about $35,000.
Wow.
I think that was LA the one year, 35 to 40, somewhere in there. So yeah, there was a lot of good wine flying around, and a lot of steak and lobsters. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, I got a good one here on the tongue.
Keep firing them off.
Rookie prank, one of the best ones that can be told.
Rookie prank. Well, I had a good story. Well, me and Vern Fiddler. So Dallas Eakin was our wasn't a rookie, but Squeaks, if you know him, everybody, he's a great guy. And so we got the lady, when you check into a hotel, the lady brings down, she's got the envelopes for every player, and that's your room key and stuff. Well, Fids had it set up where she gave me and Fiddler one of Eakin's keys to his room. So we made her. Right, yeah. This was on the road. I can't remember where it was. But anyway, so we got up to his room early, and we took everything out of the hotel room and shoved it in the bathroom. Bed, dressers, everything, tables. It was completely empty when he got in there. Yeah, that was great.
Unbelievable.
And then another good one was Peros. We're in Anaheim, and he was hurt at the time, so we're all practicing. Well, he got on the sewing machine and he sewed every single one of our keys in our pocket. So when we shoved our hand in our pocket, we couldn't get anywhere because he had sewn a round thing around it, right? And our keys were all stuck in there. So you'd see about 10 guys leave the rink and they had to come back in and they had to go to the train, and the trainer had to cut out their pockets to get their keys so they could head home.
And there was no push to start back then, probably in 07.
No, exactly, right? Yeah, you had to literally put the key in. Yeah, lots of fun stuff like that, which that's, you know what, that's kind of the stuff a guy misses the most when he retires. Yeah.
Why don't you ask Troy's question?
What's that?
Troy's question.
Okay. Troy, our other co-host here, he always asks, who's your ultimate foursome, dead or alive?
Preferably alive.
Preferably alive.
Preferably like golf foursome, eh?
Yeah.
Tiger Woods.
Yeah.
I would have to say Tiger just because I think he's unbelievable. Just to be able to watch him play golf would be amazing.
Yeah.
Donald Trump. I think it'd be funny.
Yeah. Love that.
Who else?
That's a new one off the board.
Yeah, that is.
That's a new one.
Yeah. I think he'd have some good stories. Donald Trump and I don't know. Probably I'll go class Wayne Gretzky. Be able to golf with the big one.
Yeah, that's a new one too.
Yeah.
That's
very rare.
Be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool with golf, those three guys.
I got another one now. Your day with the cup, what'd you do and how was that day for you?
Yeah, it was, you know what? That's one of the coolest things to be able to do is the day with the cup. I mean, winning it's the best thing, but to be able to bring it back with your family and your friends and be able to drink beer out of it and eat food out of it is pretty amazing. So yeah, the cup came to my house around 9:00. So we went to the Sass Landing right by my farm, and it's kind of the river where the lake is and stuff. We took family photos down there. And then we actually went to my hometown, Sturt Valley, and we did a kind of a picture day with people. I think there was about 1,500 people in Sturt Valley getting a picture. We raised a whole bunch of money for the rink to get the roof fixed there. So we spent about 4 hours there. And then I invited all my friends and family back to my place for a big barbecue and drinks and all that kind of stuff in the backyard. And then there's kind of a local pub in Swift Current. It's called Cabot's. And Steve's awesome. Did you guys go there?
I did.
Oh yeah, you went there.
I left you guys.
Did you? Yeah. So Steve, I mean, he's awesome. He's a great friend of mine. I mean, he sponsored our team in Bantam. We were the Swift Current Cabot's Raiders. Yep. So lots of good memories. I remember me being there as a kid, sitting in the bar with my dad at age 12, and he was having drinks with his buddies and stuff. And it was just kind of a family-oriented pub. And so then we all went back there for the night and, closed the place down until 3 a.m. and then went back to my place till 5. And, I mean, it's pretty much a blur, but I remember at 5, the cup guy had to go back to Regina to catch the cup to fly out to Berkey. Well, I didn't want to send Berkey a dirty cup. So I remember at 5 a.m. I had the Paul out and I was washing the cup, and it was a fun night. Yeah.
Okay, let's follow us up now with your lowest round ever and what's your handicap. You kind of said what your scores are kind of at, but what's your lowest round ever and where and your handicap?
Yeah. Lowest round ever was a 74 at Elmwood.
Nice.
And my handicap is a 9.3, something like that. Yeah.
A good two-man partner right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9.3 and he's chucking 74s.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Travis, I have another one here, and then I'm not sure if Rip has any more, but I have one here. I'm a very detailed guy when I watch the game. I scout hockey. Rip plays it. I coach hockey.
Yep.
You're a black tape guy. At one point, did you ever use white tape? And why did you use black tape for so long? What a weird stat, hey? Just knows that.
Yeah. I don't think I ever used white tape. Maybe when I was a kid that I don't remember about. You
had to borrow it from someone?
My coach, when I was young, saying you always have to use black tape because the goaltender can't see the puck in her stick then. And it's kind of always, lots of coaches too. And it's the whole don't put wax on your stick because wax keeps things off your tape, right? Little stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Okay. I like
Because
that,
wax keep the puck off too, right?
yeah.
But as a young age, I always remember
Oh, we've lost Travis thus far.
always using
He's back. He's back here. We're in. Okay, here we go.
black tape. It's funny because when my son started playing hockey, guess what I did? I was just talking about my son. I said, but when he started playing hockey, guess I only used white tape on his stick when I was taping it. So I don't know why. I just thought it looked cool. And my kid, at that age, who really cares, right? So,
Yeah. Rip, you got any more?
tapes. So.
I got nothing.
Nothing more. Travis, man, we appreciate you coming on today. I hope we can do it again. I mean, you're only 2 hours down the road from us, and whether we come up there or you come down here, we'll take you out golfing. And
Let's get in for a game here.
Awesome, Travis. Well, we appreciate your time, man.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Awesome.
Take care.
Take care.